welcome to Boardgames with Niramas. I'm Joseph from Niramas and I'm here today with Reko. And we are excited to keep going on this top 100 list. Now we're going from 80 to, 71, right? 80 to 71. And yeah, this is going to be fun. There's a lot of good games to talk about, a lot of games I really enjoy. And I'm going to explain to you why I chosen these games. If you don't agree with me, or if you do agree with me, tell me in the comment section down here and we can have a chat about it. And let's get going with the first one. So we start off with Russian Railroads, which is a game that I haven't filmed. That's why there's only a Board Game Geek page here. Now I should film this game at some point, I guess, but you know, there's so many games. But I really enjoy it. It's a sort of Euro-ish mathematical game because there's a lot of score to keep track of. What I really enjoy about this game is that it's a worker placement game where you have lots of workers. You have a whole crew of them, and they go out here, and at some places you need to place one, some places you need to place 2 or 3 workers. And you know, the more you place, the better the action is, of course, but then you used up a bunch of your workers, so you need to, you know, be careful of that. What you're trying to do is you're trying to build railroads, and I'm just going through pictures here. Let's see if we can find a good picture of where, here we go. You're actually building out here on your player boards. You're building these railroad tracks. Here we go. And so you're going to sort of choose where you put the railroad out, or like the parts. And depending on how long you go, you also need to have trains that can reach there, because then you will get certain bonuses. And there's a lot of combo wombo going on in this game, and you know, that's why I like it a lot. There's a lot of this. One thing leads to another, that leads to a third, and all of a sudden you're getting, you know, hundreds of points. So yeah, really fun game. I can really recommend it, especially with the expansion. I think it's called German Railroads, if I'm not mistaken. So Russian Railroads, really fun game. And then we have a game called The Mind that came out, I think, last year. And there's a lot of people that, you know, didn't even want to call this a game. It's sort of they call it an activity, basically. But of course, it's a game. You have rules and you have a set of, you know, your goal to reach and all that. It's a cooperative game where you have a deck of cards from 1 to 100, and you start off by each getting 1 card, and then you need to place them from lower to higher, from, you know, 1 to 100. Oh, we're zooming in on Draco there. Yeah, I'm trying to read Draco's mind. It's kind of hard. Yeah, but anyway, so you're trying to place these cards together from 1 to 100. The thing with the whole game and why it's called The Mind is that you can't talk to each other. It's all in silence, which is a bit fun. It's a bit different from many games where there's a lot of chattering going on. And here you're going to sort of try to figure out, it's basically, of course, it's not mind reading. It's more about statistical probability. Like if I have number 25 and there's a card from 1 to 100 and there's 4 cards out there, if we're 4 players, how probable is it that I have the lowest card? And so I sit around, wait, and you know, the longer it goes, at some point I'm gonna say to myself, of course, quietly, okay, I probably have the lowest card, because nobody has shown any interest in putting down a card. So I'll put up my 25. If that would be wrong, if someone else has a lower card, they have to discard it and we lose a life. And that's the way you can lose the game, after you get rid of all your life, basically. And you can get some new life if you complete the level, because then you keep going. So level 2, everybody gets 2 cards each, and so on. And you know, at level 6, everybody has 6 cards each, and you're trying to figure out how to put them down. But that's when the game really shines, because at some point you can get into a rhythm. So the whole game, you know, if you're 4 people, you're all in the same mindset. You got a feeling sort of for when you're supposed to play your card. And when you pull off like a 61, 62, 64, 67 in a row and nobody did it wrong, it is so exciting. It's so rewarding. People are cheering and laughing, and you know, after the game is done, you're like, yes, we made it. It's such a good feeling, and you can almost feel the tension in the room when you play The Mind, if you get the right group together. So I love it a lot, The Mind. Now let's head to the next one. Okay, and here's another fun game, more of fun and laughter than serious gameplay. It's Camel Up, or Camel Cup, as people call it as well, because it's a bit confusing with the C there. Camel Up, anyway, is a race game with camels. I haven't done a video for this, but it's a racing game with camels going around a racetrack. And you're betting on which colored camel will be the first one to reach the goal. and second place and third place and so on. The funny thing though with this game is, as you can see here, the camels can stack upon each other. It's these wooden camels, not really realistic, but anyway. And that means that in this case, as you can see on the picture here, if the red camel moves, then the blue will just tag along on top of it. So that can really become hard to predict how it's going to go, because you roll dice. So each camel color has their own die. You roll it, they can go 1, 2, or 3 spaces, and you can also put out like traps and stuff that affect, so they might slide back or slide forward. Wow, it's such a fun game. You're betting on these camels and you're trying to get the most money basically at the end of the game. And it's really exciting because you also have these cards, so you can bet, or you can bet early on that, okay, I think this camel is going to win. You don't have that much information, but if you're the first one to do that and you're correct, then you get a bunch of money at the end of the game. Really fun one. Can really recommend for families or kids or people new to the hobby, or just, all that, because it doesn't take that much. It's just fun. You don't have to sit around and think too much. But I enjoyed it a lot, Camel Up. And at number 77, we have a game from Reiner Knizia, the great designer. And this is High Society, and this is basically a card. It's just a deck of cards with tarot sides cards. Really looks nice, and it's an auction game. And the funny thing with it is it's really quick to play. You play a few times often when you sit down with it. The fun thing with the whole auction, the twist to it all, because we're trying to buy expensive and fancy stuff in some, I don't know, a few hundred years ago, and show them off and be the wealthiest, most famous, most popular person. The problem is nobody likes anyone who is broke. So if you the one that has the least money left at the end of the game is out of the scoring. You don't get to score, so you can't just buy everything you want, because then you will be broke at the end of the game. And some of the things, it's also like a reversed auction at some point, so something bad might come out, like a scandal. You have to pay to avoid having to take that card. It's so fun. It's a really simple game, like many of Knizia's games. It's a really simple mechanism, but it turns it into the players make the game really fun. How you play with there's a lot of strategy going on. Like, okay, so if he's gonna do that, then I can do this. Another fun thing in this game as well is that the money that you bet with on these auctions, you have a set amount of bills, and they have a value on them. So it's not like you can get exchange. So if I bet with my 15, then that's gone. If I win, if I win the auction, that's gone. I don't have the 15 bill anymore, so I might not be able to, bid 15 or whatever. I have to bid 20. So it's really interesting with that system. I really enjoy High Society. Next up is a game from this year. It came out early this year, called Wingspan from Stonemaier Games, and this is a really fun little. Well, I would call it a sort of engine building, of course. You build up, you're trying to amass these birds coming to, gather them into your habitats, and then they give you different actions and so on. But at the same time, it's sort of the components really do it for it, with all the eggs looking nice and all the boards and all that. But the main of the game is tactical choices. That's why I like it, because in this game you can't really have a strategy, because it's so dependent on what cards you get, what birds you get, and how you're able to place them and so on. So it's every game you play is going to be very different, and you can have a strategy coming into it, and then you have to adapt. And it has some of those elements that I really enjoy in games, where you have to adapt to the situation you're in. You might have no really perfect card for the situations. You have to do what you can with the cards you have, and then you need to find a way to win there's like a little competition going on each round, who can do the best in this and that, and you're trying to do that. There's also an expansion just came out here, the Spiel. I didn't get one, sadly. It was sold out, so I don't have that, but I'm hoping to get it soon, because I do enjoy Wingspan a lot, and especially I like it. I like the solo game a lot. I think right here I'm playing with Draco, but I also did a solo playthrough. I think 2 of those. You can go check them out on the channel. And I really enjoyed it in solo play. It's really good at home. And well, now with zoomed down here, you can really see the player board as well. You have these 3 different rows for gaining food, for laying eggs, and for drawing cards. You need to find a way to combo with that. Really enjoy it. Wingspan, can recommend it. And then we have Riverboat. Riverboat is a Euro-style game where you're trying to build up your farmland and then, harvest your fields in order to get resources that you can sort of basically thematically ship off at the docks with your riverboat to score points. And the system here is really fun. It's a sort of like a little sort of bingo stylish game in some ways. This game is one of those new Euro styles that has a lot of different mechanisms sort of mixed together. So it's tile laying, and the way to put out the tiles are sort of you draw a card, and it's the card says, okay, now everybody has to place their tile in a certain part of the board. And you can break that rule by paying coins and so on, but you're trying to build up these little areas of like potatoes so that then you can get a lot of potatoes harvested and scored at the same time. You can also put out some of your workers can become like chairmen going to the city and going like scoring you that way. There's a lot of things going on, and it's really a fun system where each round, these tiles that you can see here in the middle there, the square tiles, you sort of you draft them at the start of a round, and that means that if I get like the number 2, then I'm going to be the first player in the second phase of that round. So it's not just one player being the first player the whole round, which is kind of different, but I really like that. And these tiles also give you certain benefits. So like if you're the first player in the second, then you're gonna get some kind of bonus. So there's a lot of things going on here. You have gold cards that you're trying to reach. You have these like end game goals, and you also have these like wells that you can put out that you're trying to surround with vegetables of the same kind and so on. Really fun game, Riverboat. I can really recommend this one. And then to something completely different. It's I love how that board games can be so different, and there's so many styles. And I like a lot of different styles of games. In XCOM, we are trying to protect the Earth from aliens, just like in the computer game. But in XCOM, the board game, it's a real-time game. So we have an app assisting us, and the app is sort of stressing us and keeping track of. You have like different roles, so it's perfect with 4 people. You can play it with less than 4, but at 4 everybody has their own role. And so if you're like the captain or whatever it's called, head of the troops, then the app is gonna tell you, okay, now you have 15 seconds to deploy your troops, and you have to take your little minis, put them out on the map, on the card, to fight the aliens. You have to do that in that certain amount of time, and you have to figure out which troop should go and fight which alien. You have like an orbital defense where the aliens are attacking, from the sky, so you have to have your jet fighters out there to fight them as well. And you have like events happening, which is always bad. These terrible events happening. Then you have a few seconds to draw 2 cards and choose one of those bad things. And you have to consider what's the status right now in the game. What is the least bad thing for us? And you also have one guy being one player being the head of the economy, because you have to pay your troops and your jet fighters and all that as well, and your scientists and all that. So that person has to keep track of, okay, how much money are we putting into this round? Do we have enough money? Because if we don't, then, panic levels might start rising. And if panic gets too far in the world, then, the aliens win. So much fun in this game. It's one of those real-time games that I really enjoy. I usually get too stressed out by them. But XCOM is such a cool game. At some point, I would like to do a video of this, with Draco. Well, yeah, I don't know, with myself, basically, because you're not supposed to solo this game, but I would like to try it at some point. And then just like that, we jump back to some Euro brain-burning strategy going on with this lovely Santa Maria. Santa Maria is a really interesting game. Well, first of all, I'm going to just tell you how the game works, sort of, because you're drafting dice, and you use these dice in columns and rows in order to trigger different actions on your board, and you build up the board so your board becomes better and better as you go, which means you can trigger more and more actions. That's sort of the simple explanation of the game, and you're also placing tiles to build up that board, so it's a bit of tile placement as well. But thematically, the game is really funny and happy, and even the victory points markers are happy faces, which is a bit strange. Well, it's like a twist to the to the whole theme of, this is a really dark times. When you're going up the conquistador track, you're not seeing that you're actually like slaughtering, South American native people and so on. And you're like, oh, you're spreading the religion. So you trade religion for some silver, which in the actual history was, kind of terrible how they extracted the benefits of the land and just left people, starving and so on. And in the rule book, there's actually a little, part of this. Okay, so you're having fun, you have these happy faces going there for the points, but what were you actually doing? And when you start consider that, it's like a piece of art. It's like the designers here, really good designers who actually like put the terrible history of this period in a colorful, happy frame in order to make you, as the player, sort of react and consider that. But that whole thing aside, because that's the theme sort of in all that, the actual gameplay mechanism and all that is really good. There's something about this dice drafting that I really enjoy, and in this one, it combines it with the whole notion of, okay, this die can travel down your road and you will activate different buildings. You need to do its things in a certain order in order to get the resources that you need so you can convert them into victory points. But there's so much going on. My brain is just burning when I try to play this game, but I enjoy it a lot. Santa Maria. Okay, so Clans of Caledonia. This is a game that when I heard about it, I was interested right away, because I do like this kind of farming sort of this strategy with building up your buildings, producing different goods, and you can refine those goods so you can refine them like grain can become whiskey and so on. And most of all, I was excited because it builds on Terra Mystica. It's sort of Terra Mystica in its base, and then it builds on with some market, with some contract, sort of like in Marco Polo or in some other games. So this game is just amazing. I think it's so good. I think the game has a lot, for it. It has these like round goals you're trying to go for. Just like in Terra Mystica, you're trying to build on the map. You have the whole with the rivers and how they are adjacent and how you're trying to score different goals, and you can block each other and all that. There's a lot of things going on in this game that are really good, and I think Clans of Caledonia is one of those games. I haven't played it in a while, and it's one of those games that's back of my mind. I do want to play it soon again. And I sold my copy to a friend because I needed money at the time, and I have too many games on my shelves as well. But it's still in the game group. That's the good thing. That's why you should sell your games to your friends. So still in the game group, and I hope I can play it soon. Lovely pieces, lovely artwork. This game's just really good, Clans of Caledonia. And we're going to finish off today this part of the top 100, this 10 part with Newton. Came out last year at SNSPL as well. Newton is it's a lot of things going on, but it's a very solitary game, which I do like a lot. I really like this game. I haven't gotten around to play it that much as I wanted to, because a lot of my friends don't seem to be that excited about it, which is sad. But Newton is really good. It's a card. I really like the card mechanism in this game, because your actions are cards. You have cards that you play on your turn to do different actions, but you also have the symbols, so that the more you play these cards, the better you get at doing a certain thing. So at the start, you're playing a card that lets you like travel on this map, for instance. You can maybe only travel one space, but then the card is out there so that the next time you play another travel card, because you can pick up new cards as well, then you're better at traveling. And at the end of each round, you're going to have to take one of those cards that you had and slide it under the board, and it's gone. You can't do that action anymore, but you still get to keep the symbol on it, so you will become better and better at performing the actions. So there's a different types of strategy you can go here in Newton. There's a lot of going on. You have like a tech tree where you're trying to get to certain type of technologies in order to get certain benefits. You can work and get some money. You can go out on the track here. This is my favorite, when you run around the world and trying to see different things and do discoveries and whatnot. And all of those things are sort of also surrounded by, let's see if here's the playboard. I don't know if we can get like a better picture of the player board here. I'm going to try to find that while I talk. So here we have the player board. So on the player board, you are going to put out your discoveries, sort of like your inventions, with tiles out here, and try to form like rows and columns to score points to get benefits, which is really fun. There's so much fun stuff going on in this game. I need to play it soon. I really need to do that, and I hope that at some point I will try to do a video of this as well. There's an expansion that just came out at Spiel, so if I can get my hands on that, I didn't get it down there, but if I can get my hands on that soon, I'll make a video with the expansion. So yeah, Newton, so good. And that concludes this week's episode of the Top 100. We're just getting, what are we, a third of the, like 30% done. So a lot to go, and we'll keep doing this every Friday up until Christmas, and then we'll have the big finale with the top 10, where I will be joined by some friends, Mats and Andreas as well. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, and like the video as well. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening, morning, or whenever you're watching. Take care. Bye-bye.